For decades, flying cars have been the ultimate broken promise of the future. Every generation has been told that flying cars are just around the corner. Scientists talked about them. Engineers drew blueprints. Hollywood built entire worlds around them. Tech, billionaires stood on stages and teased prototypes that were always, somehow, still 5 years away from being real. And every single time, reality failed to deliver. The vehicles were too big, too expensive, too dangerous, too complicated to regulate, too impractical for the real world. Flying cars became the symbol of futuristic promises that never actually arrived, the punchline to a decades-long joke about technology overpromising and underdelivering. But something just happened that is genuinely different. China has built a flying car that actually works. A vehicle that drives on regular roads, takes off vertically like a drone, flies through the air, lands, folds its wings and propulsion arms down into a compact form factor that fits in a standard parking space, and mass production is scheduled to begin in 2026. This is not a concept drawing. This is not a computer render with dramatic music playing behind it. This is a physical vehicle that has completed real test flights, received serious regulatory attention, and is backed by a company with the resources and government support to actually bring it to market. The future that was promised for 60 years is finally showing up, and it is arriving from a direction most people did not see coming. Let's get into it. So what exactly is this vehicle, and who built it? The flying car that has captured the attention of the global automotive and aerospace industries is the land aircraft carrier system developed by Chinese company XPeng. AeroHT, the aviation division of XPeng, one of China's most prominent and well-funded electric vehicle manufacturers. The vehicle system consists of 2 connected components. The first is a large 6-wheeled land vehicle, essentially a high-tech mobile base that carries and deploys the second component, which is a fully autonomous 2-seat aircraft module. The aircraft module detaches from the land vehicle, takes off vertically, completes its flight, and then reconnects with the land vehicle upon landing. But beyond the XPeng AeroHT system, there is another vehicle generating enormous excitement, the XPeng X3, a more integrated flying car design where the vehicle itself transforms with foldable rotor arms and propulsion systems that tuck away when the vehicle is in road mode and deploy when it is ready to fly. This integrated approach is what gets closer to the classic flying car vision that people have imagined for generations. What makes these vehicles genuinely different from the dozens of failed flying car attempts that came before them is the combination of several factors coming together at exactly the right moment. Battery technology has finally reached energy density levels that make electric vertical takeoff and landing practical at a reasonable vehicle weight. AI flight control systems have become sophisticated enough to handle the complexity of transitioning between ground and air modes safely. And manufacturing capabilities in China have reached a level where producing these vehicles at scale is actually economically viable. Previous flying car attempts failed because they were trying to solve too many unsolvable problems simultaneously with technology that was not ready. The technology is now ready. That changes everything. Now let's talk about how this actually works, because the engineering behind it is extraordinary. The core challenge of building a flying car has always been the fundamental tension between what makes a good car and what makes a good aircraft. Cars need to be heavy, stable, and designed to handle road forces. Aircraft need to be as light as possible, with large wing or rotor surfaces that are completely impractical on a road. Every previous attempt to reconcile these two requirements resulted in a vehicle that was mediocre at both. The folding mechanism is the engineering breakthrough that changes this equation. On the XPeng flying car, the rotor arms and propulsion systems are designed to fold compactly against the body of the vehicle when in road mode. The folding process is motorized and takes only a matter of seconds. When the vehicle reaches a designated takeoff area and is ready to fly, the arms unfold and lock into their flight positions. The rotors spin up and the vehicle transitions to flight mode. The propulsion system is fully electric, using multiple rotors distributed across the extended arms to provide vertical takeoff and landing capability. Similar to a scaled-up drone, but engineered to carry human passengers safely. The distributed rotor design provides redundancy, meaning that if one rotor experiences a problem, the remaining rotors can compensate and maintain controlled flight, a critical safety feature for any vehicle carrying people through the air. The flight control system is where artificial intelligence plays a crucial role. Flying a multi-rotor vehicle manually requires constant micro-adjustments that would be essentially impossible for an untrained human pilot to manage. The AI flight control system handles all of these adjustments automatically, managing rotor speeds, compensating for wind and turbulence, and maintaining stable flight, while the human occupant simply selects a destination. The system is designed so that flying the vehicle requires no pilot training you. Interact with it more like a passenger in an autonomous vehicle than like a pilot operating an aircraft. The transition between road mode and flight mode is managed by onboard systems that run through a series of safety checks before allowing the vehicle to take off. Rotor integrity, battery levels, weather conditions, and airspace clearance are all verified automatically before the system authorizes a flight. Now let's talk real numbers, because specs matter when you are evaluating whether this technology is genuinely practical. The XPeng AeroHT flying car system is designed to carry 2 passengers. The flight range, on a full charge, is approximately 100 kilometers in air travel distance, which is not enormous. But for urban and suburban use cases, covering 100 kilometers by air is genuinely transformative. A journey that might take 90 minutes by road through congested city traffic could potentially be completed in 15 to 20 minutes by air. Maximum flight altitude is designed for low-altitude urban air mobility, operating in the airspace below traditional aviation, typically under 1,000 meters. This keeps the vehicle out of the way of commercial aircraft, while operating in the airspace that is most useful for short urban and suburban journeys. Top speed in flight mode is approximately 130 kilometers per hour, which is fast enough to make air travel dramatically quicker than ground travel for most urban distances. Ground speed in road mode is comparable to a regular electric vehicle. Charging time using fast charging infrastructure brings the battery from low to full in approximately 30 minutes, similar to the charging experience of a modern electric car. The vehicle is designed to use existing EV charging infrastructure, which is a practical advantage. That means you do not need entirely new fueling infrastructure to operate it. The target takeoff and landing footprint is small enough to operate from a large parking lot, a rooftop, or a designated urban landing pad, making it compatible with existing urban environments without requiring the construction of traditional airports or runways. So who is the company behind all of this? And should you actually believe they can deliver? XPeng AeroHT is the urban air mobility division of XPeng Motors, one of China's 3 major electric vehicle manufacturers alongside NIO and BYD. XPeng as a company has been producing and selling electric vehicles at scale in China since 2018 and has expanded into European markets. They are a publicly traded company with billions of dollars in the revenue and a track record of actually delivering vehicles to customers, not just building prototypes and raising funding rounds. The aviation division, AeroHT, has been operating since 2013 and has been specifically focused on the development of electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles for over a decade. This is not a startup that pivoted into flying cars 6 months ago. This is a company that has been working on this specific problem for years, iterating through multiple generations of prototypes, and building the expertise and supply chain needed to manufacture these vehicles at scale. The Chinese government has been a significant enabler of this technology. China has been proactive in developing regulatory frameworks for urban air mobility, creating designated test zones, working with companies on airspace integration, and signaling strong national support for the development and deployment of flying vehicle technology. This government alignment gives Chinese flying car companies a significant structural advantage over competitors in countries where regulation has been slower and more uncertain. Funding has not been a constraint. XPeng AeroHT has raised substantial investment from both private sources and with implicit government backing, giving them the resources to pursue mass production at a meaningful scale. The credibility here is real. This is not vaporware. Now let's be honest about the challenges, because there are significant ones that still need to be solved. Regulatory approval is the most complex obstacle, even with China's more progressive approach to urban air mobility regulation. Getting a flying car certified for routine civilian operation involves an enormous amount of safety validation. Every system needs to be proven reliable, not just in normal conditions, but in edge cases, adverse weather, equipment malfunctions, emergency situations. Aviation safety standards are rigorous for very good reason, and meeting those standards takes time, even when the technology itself is ready. Airspace integration is another major challenge. Urban airspace is not empty. There are existing flight paths, no-fly zones, emergency service corridors, and the complex question of how to manage hundreds or eventually thousands of flying vehicles operating in the same urban airspace simultaneously without collisions. The infrastructure for managing urban air traffic at scale does not yet exist and will need to be built from the ground up. Pricing is a realistic concern for mass adoption. The first generation of these vehicles it's going to be expensive, likely in the range of $150,000 to $300,000 or more for early production models. That puts them out of reach. For most consumers initially, meaning the first market will likely be wealthy early adopters, corporate transport, and premium ride-sharing services rather than everyday personal ownership. Weather limitations are also real. Heavy rain, strong winds, and severe weather conditions create genuine operational constraints for low-altitude electric flying vehicles. These are not aircraft designed to push through a thunderstorm. On bad weather days, the flying capability is simply not available, and public acceptance is not guaranteed. The idea of hundreds of flying vehicles buzzing through urban airspace, above people's homes and streets, is going to generate significant public debate about noise, safety, privacy, and quality of life. Working through those social and political dimensions will take time. Alongside the technical and regulatory work, these challenges are real, but they are solvable challenges, not fundamental barriers that make the technology impossible. They are the normal friction that any genuinely and transformative transportation technology faces on its way from prototype to mainstream adoption. So what does the timeline actually look like from here? XPeng AeroHT has publicly committed to beginning mass production of their flying car system in 2026. Initial production volumes will be limited. This is not going to be 1 million units in the first year. But getting into actual production, with real vehicles being delivered to real customers, represents a threshold that no flying car company has ever crossed before. The initial target markets are China's major metropolitan areas, where traffic congestion is severe enough that air mobility offers a genuinely compelling value proposition, even at a premium price point. From there, the company has signaled ambitions to expand into international markets, with the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and eventually Europe. North America identified as target regions. The broader urban air mobility industry is watching China's progress extremely closely. Companies in the United States and Europe, including Joby Aviation, Archer, Lilium, and Wisk, are all working on electric air taxi and flying vehicle technology. But China's combination of manufacturing scale, regulatory support, and a specific folding flying car form factor puts XPeng AeroHT in a unique position in this race. Over the next 10 years, if the regulatory and infrastructure pieces come together, urban air mobility could genuinely transform how people move through and between cities. The future just got a lot closer, and it folds into a parking space. And that is the full story on China's flying car that folds into your trunk with mass production starting in 2026. 60 years of broken promises, decades of prototypes that went nowhere, and now, finally, a real vehicle from a real company with a real production timeline that is changing everything. We thought we knew about the future of transportation. Now I want to hear from you. Would you actually buy a flying car if the price came down to something reasonable? Or does the idea of flying through city traffic still feel too wild to you? Drop your honest answer in the comments below. I read every single one, and I love hearing what this community thinks about stories like this. If this video blew your mind even a little bit, and honestly, it should have hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second, and it makes a massive difference in helping this channel grow and reach more people. And if you are not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Join this community right now and turn on the bell notifications so you never miss a video. Every single week, we cover the biggest tech stories, the most important breakthroughs, and the future trends that are quietly reshaping the world around us. I will see you in the next one.